I know. By now, it seems that pretty much every week there's some new and amazing thing that the trillions of microbes in our gut modulate. But resiliency, or one's ability to not stress, bounce back, keep their cool, get knocked down, and get up again, come on. Come on. I mean, come on. Now that I think of it, maybe my microbes are the reason that when I drop a video that totally flops with 100 views, I get back and make another one the next week. Hopefully, we don't have to test that theory out today. Let's go. Yo, yo, yo. What is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today, we are talking about one of the most admired and admirable features that we intelligent walking apes can have, and how it may potentially be modulated by totally different organisms. Gotta love irony and a good story plot. We are diving into the science of being resilient, handling tough situations with grace, moving on and moving forward, taking a punch and kicking them right in the... You know what? I think you get the point. This was the topic of some new research out of UCLA, and I gotta say, the reoccurring theme that links brain function to the gut is getting kinda scary. The wildest part being we have the power to modulate a lot of these pathways, and thus probably put ourselves in a position to be more resilient through lifestyle. But that tactical, what we can do part comes a little later. First, we gotta see what this study was all about, because I'm not gonna lie, it seems a little hard to believe. Just like all those reviews that we did on how our gut microbes modulate anxiety and depression and motivation and muscle growth and longevity were hard to believe. Huh, that's some list. I told you a lot of amazing shit happens in there. Poop, pun intended, of course. Alright. The study. And in similar nature to others, researchers honed in on suspects number 1 and 2 when it comes to nefarious happenings within our body. Chronic inflammation and chronic stress. And how more resilient people seem to have less of both. Let's take a look. Researchers first started by surveying 116 participants about their resiliency. The criteria being trust in one's instinct and positive acceptance to change. Nothing about YouTube videos, huh? Anyway, based on the results, they separated participants into 2 groups. One with the top-ranking resilient individuals and the other with the lowest. From here, participants provided stool samples and underwent MRI imaging to see if anything stuck out to explain this resilience difference between the groups. And the findings started out as you may have expected, displaying that people in the high resiliency group were less anxious and depressed, were less prone to judge, and had more activity in the regions of the brain responsible for emotional regulation. Interesting, yet not totally surprising. But again, we haven't got to the poop part yet, which is now. Surprisingly, the findings also displayed that the high resiliency group had totally different microbiome activity than the low resiliency group, specifically having a microbiome composition that produced more beneficial metabolites and exhibited gene activity associated with low inflammation and a strong, healthy gut wall. Huh, you don't say. And I haven't even got to the craziest part yet.
Yes!
Out of all the factors looked at which correlated with the individual participants' resiliency, the bacteria transcriptomes, aka the communities of microbes in the gut, provided the highest classification accuracy, leading researchers to conclude that the microbiome is critical in shaping resiliency, and that microbiome modifications can improve mental health. Well then, I guess my microbes really are to thank for getting back on the YouTube saddle after one of my health and longevity powwows bomb. Thanks, guys. That, of course, is in addition to being the fragrance developers of our flatulence. They're talented. What can I say? Now, with the disclaimer that this was a rather small study and more research needs to be done, let's ponder on why this may be the case. And to do this, I'd like to point you to the aforementioned theme of dysfunction, inflammation, as it happens to be the consistent variable in just about every case of cellular dysfunction and disease that goes down. And this is no truer than in our 5-pound mushy membrane, where the intense requirement for constant energy makes it a heavy-duty metabolic environment. And when there is more energy metabolism, there is a higher prevalence of harmful waste products, like free radicals, which can cause damage to surrounding areas and trigger the immune system. Now, you, the keen longevity enthusiast that you are, may be thinking, don't we have cleanup processes and pathways that can take care of all this metabolic garbage? And that we do. In fact, we got a full video on it here. However, the modern day societal norms, which many people consider normal behaviors, the 24/7 ultra-processed eating, the indoor sedentary behavior, chemicals and pharmaceuticals galore, and chronically deprived disaligned sleep, do a great job in stifling these cleanup mechanisms the longer we partake in this normal lifestyle. And as it pertains to the brain, this first creates the presence of cognitive struggles, such as brain fog, and eventually, down the road, setting the stage for more serious conditions such as neurodegeneration. Yikes is right. And all that's interesting, but where does the gut come in? Isn't this supposed to be about the gut too? I thought you'd never ask. What we've talked about up until this point is the internally self-derived inflammation. The gut, however, which houses trillions of foreign microbes, keeping them at bay and in their place with a tightly junctioned gut wall and a critical layer of mucus acting as a buffer, happens to be a double-edged inflammatory sword. Let me explain. When put in a position through lifestyle to thrive, it houses microbes which secrete beneficial metabolites such as short-chain fatty acids, which get absorbed and make their way throughout the body via the bloodstream and into the brain, reducing the dysfunction that leads to inflammation and alleviating symptoms of conditions like brain fog. Pretty cool, I know. However, on the flip side, when the gut is a prisoner to the modern-day Western lifestyle, it instead cultivates communities of suboptimal microbes within, ones that secrete harmful metabolites, deplete the mucus layer, and weaken the gut barrier. So much so that gaps in the gut wall are formed, letting bacterial byproducts which are normally not allowed in the body sneak on in. And if you remember anything about our immune system, its number one manifesto is to kill thy non-self. And if the root of this problem, the nefarious microbes and the depleted gut wall, are not healed, the situation becomes chronic, leading to systemic full-body inflammation, adding more fuel to the inflammatory fire, and thus dysfunction in the brain. Not cool for biological school, I know. So this may be one of the factors playing into the resilient participants' hands. The fact that they have a more beneficial ecosystem of gut microbes, a stronger, more efficient gut wall, and less overall inflammation as a byproduct. On that note, I must also point out that the health compound effect is likely at play here as well, because the driver of these resilient people's beneficial gut and anti-inflammatory traits is likely their lifestyle. The food they eat, the movement they do, the sleep they get, and the nature they experience, all habits which improve cellular and neuronal function, lower stress, nurture health-promoting gut microbes, and enhance cellular cleanup processes, making it more difficult for disease and dysfunction to form and prosper, thus improving cellular and metabolic efficiency and making the neuronal regions which manage resiliency, well, more resilient. The irony. With that, let's get a little more tactical and talk about some ways to get more efficient, and thus resilient. And to start this section, I just gotta say, data like this makes me smile because it displays a connection that we, you and I can very much have an influence on. And if we're being real, most intelligent walking apes on this beautiful floating rock have a ton of room for improvement. Thus, the upside as a result of owning thy health is huge. It's huge. So let's focus in on some things that will cultivate an environment that controls inflammation, limits stress, and promotes organ system rest, rejuvenation, and detoxification. Starting with the GOAT, greatest of all time habit for cellular health and efficiency, and one of the best ways to control both stress and inflammation. High quality, circadian aligned sleep. And here's why. Sleep is the period where your organs rest, regenerate, and ramp up detoxification pathways, especially in the brain. And in doing so, reduce inflammation and enhance cognition. While chronic lack of sleep has been shown to cause hormone imbalances, oxidative stress, decreased levels of antioxidants, and an increase in gut permeability, aka leakiness. Thus why we call it the bedrock for all the foundational components of health and longevity, and why we should probably make it a priority. Next, we move to our fuel, or what we eat. And the facts of the matter are, the ultra-processed Western diet is a one-way ticket to an inflamed internal environment, by both means of internal cellular dysfunction and microbiome gut dysfunction. A not so cool double whammy. While real, whole, organic, wild, pasture-raised options eaten in a strategic 10-hour or less daily feeding window does the exact opposite. Remember, the food you eat is what your microbes eat, and the ones that hurt your health typically promote the nefarious gut wall depleting microbes to prosper. In addition, many phytonutrients and healthy fats found in high quality plant and animal products not only fight inflammation and the diseases of metabolic syndrome, but stimulate and dilate the widening of blood vessels, reducing stress in the process. Bringing some more truth to the old adage, you are what you eat. Next, we have the moving of the badonkadonk. This has shown us that, ironically, one of the best ways to prevent inflammation is by doing activities that acutely cause it. As a byproduct of moving the badonkadonk is the release of a number of bioactive compounds which reduce inflammation, dilate blood vessels, and relieve stress. And wouldn't you know it, exercise also plays a role in influencing the communities of microbes within, confirming once again that movement is in fact medicine. A good goal to aim for here is working at 65 to 85% max heart rate for 20 to 30 minutes a few times a week. Finally, some other beneficial tools in the health toolbox include grounding and earthing, which is the practice of reconnecting electrically with the earth. This has been shown to neutralize inflammatory free radicals and improve blood flow. 20 minutes a day is a good minimum to strive for. Then we have nasal breathing, as simply breathing through your nose increases the secretion of nitric oxide, which dilates blood vessels, reduces stress, and improves cardiovascular health. And lastly, we have some proactive stress management in the form of breath work, mindfulness, and meditation. All of these have shown the ability to reduce sympathetic nervous system activation, stress, and inflammation. Now, this list is certainly not an end-all be-all for interventions that you can do to increase your odds, likelihood, and probability of cellular and metabolic efficiency and thus resiliency, but it provides some good baseline, get you 85% of the way there, habits to focus on. Remember, gaining and maintaining your health is a journey, and everyone's at a different point. So customize it to you and take your time. The good news is, even if you don't mentally feel it, your body is a resiliency machine. Always bouncing back, always moving forward, always making new videos after the last one bombs. But also, like everything else, it can only take so many shots when continuously being left out to dry. So start giving it a helping hand. Put it in a position for efficient operations. Help your microbes help you. And stop crying in the bathroom, get up, and go make another video, damn it. Oh, sorry about that. I don't know how one of my post-it note reminders got in the script.